So very honored to be back with you today. And we have to continue the fight because
Yeah, we do.
these demon rats are trying to take over our country and steal this election.
They're
And
trying. They
yeah, and
don't stand a
President Trump,
chance.
yeah, exactly. And President Trump won the election. He won the
Convincingly.
election.
Convincingly.
Yeah. And then you have Sleepy Joe in Michigan having hardly no people at his rallies,
Yep.
ends up with a 70,000 vote lead. How is that? You know?
Well, I know how. I know exactly how.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but it was about 4 weeks ago, the word water was used to keep your eye on the water by Donald Trump on a number of things. It might have even been 6 weeks ago. And my initial thoughts about the water was about the dams in China. That was my thought process. But it wasn't anything to do with that. We were being led down that route. And now we're learning, I learned this yesterday, that all the official ballot papers have a watermark in them.
Oh, okay.
And the quantum voting system can only read the ones with a watermark.
Oh, man, these devils.
So he knows exactly how much he's won by.
Yes.
And he's about to expose it.
He's about to expose it. And rumor has it he's going to, according to Q, he's going to, through Rudy Giuliani, sign an executive order to redo the whole election. Every vote will be audited because these mail-in ballot votes, it's a fraudulent system. I said this months ago. This is what the Democrats want. There was 100,000 vote count in Michigan alone, where people had sent in 100,000 ballots, not one vote for Donald Trump, not one.
Yeah,
that cannot be.
No.
That cannot be.
But
and Joe Biden
this is all pantomime.
That's it. And they think we, the American people, are stupid.
They do. That's exactly what they think.
Yeah. And
then sadly,
right.
Some are.
Yeah, exactly. And what is so sad, my friend, Dr. Charlie, is that who I blame the most is these clergymen, these pastors.
Yeah.
I was on the Alex Jones show yesterday, hosting the Fourth Hour as a guest. And I was saying that I blame the pastors for voting for Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Biden is pro-death. He's not pro-life.
Yep.
Yeah. And so he's pro-death, but yet you have these prophets of Baal voting for a man who doesn't care about life.
Correct.
Joe Biden has no sympathy for life,
Yeah.
And what is more sadder is that Fox News was calling it last night, the other night for Biden. Wait a minute now. I'm confused. I thought Fox News was conservative, they've all sold out to the demon rats. So this is not over. This watermarks, you blew my mind with that. But you got the Crack News Network, Don Sweet Tea Lemon, Christopher Fredo Cuomo, and then over at MSNBC with Rachel Mad Cow Maddow. They hate President Trump so much that they don't care if they got their dog or cat in.
Yeah.
And, I've been teaching, my friend, concerning the House of Cards, the coming fall of the Biden crime family.
Yeah.
That the Biden bloodline, which goes back 7 to 8 generations out of Scotland, was full of slave owners. And I detailed this, have been for the past 2 weeks. Not only is the bloodline of Uncle Joe Biden full of slave owners, But Joe Biden and Jill Biden had applied for a marriage license 2 days after the death of Joe's first wife.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then go on national television for the past 45, 47 years and lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally believe, as a historian, that Natalie Hunter Biden was a sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
in order to give rise to the political, career of one Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got his startup money from a corrupt banker, a Pakistani by the name of Aghan Hassan Abidi, who had created the anonymous, the terrible bank, the BCCI bank, back in 1972.
I used to bank,
which at the time was headquartered in Luxembourg.
That's right.
Including Karachi, Pakistan, and London, England.
Correct.
So Habib Hassan, well connected to the CIA,
Yep.
to the NSA, to the Mossad,
Mm-hmm.
to KGB, which is now FSB, Chinese intelligence, including millions of dollars from drug kingpins and drug lords all over the world, had financially supported the rise of Joe Biden.
Yep.
Then his wife is taken out. Then 2 days after the death of Nelia Hunter Biden and their daughter Naomi, where crackhead, Hunter Biden is injured, along with the late Beau Biden later on, who would be another sacrifice, because Beau Biden, his son, another son of Joe Biden, was the former attorney general for the state of Delaware, who was against his father's business dealings. And all of a sudden, he dies of brain cancer. Another topic for another day. But the rise of Joe Biden, when he said that you ain't black if you're going to vote for Donald J. Trump, who is he to tell me who I am? You ain't black. And so this is the same nut who in 1974, Dr. Ward, had signed on the dotted line in favor of busing segregation here in the United States, separating black kids from white kids. And 20 years later, in 1994, he had co-signed the crime bill along with Bonnie and Clyde, Bill and Hillary Clinton, that put 2.7 million black men in prison, which was 10%, my friend, of the black male population at that time, from 1994 to the year 2000. This man, Joe Biden, pound for pound, he is the most corrupt politician in American political history. And I don't understand, my friend, all of the evidence against this man, against his son Hunter. Whereas Joe says, I'm going to be tough on China. Oh, please. Joe Biden is a Manchurian candidate. And so we cannot afford to have him to steal this election.
He won't. There's no chance of him doing it. No chance.
No chance.
Well, number one, he was executed last year. What we're seeing now is a clone. And if you think for 1 minute Trump can lose to a clone, then that's not going to happen. This has been carefully thought through and carefully planned. This has got nothing to do with Democrats and nothing to do with Republicans. This is the war between good and evil.
You hit this right on the button, my friend. This has nothing to do with Republican versus Democrat. This is the war of God versus Satan.
That's exactly what it is.
That's right. Who is Lucifer, L, Satan, S, devil, D, there's your LSD. It's a war between good and evil, right versus wrong, light versus darkness. I believe the real Joe Biden was taken out in a purge because he's a traitor. And I believe that Hillary Clinton might have been taken out too as well. And so there is no way that President Trump is going to lose to a clone. There is no way. And so this man who stutters and It's so discombobulated. But getting back to the bloodline of Joe Biden, his history, his timeline. And so he signs this crime bill in 1994 that puts 2.7 million Black men in prison because of having an ounce of crack cocaine, whereas the distributors would get off scot-free and worst case would serve a 3 to 5 year sentence. Joe Biden is a racist. This clone is a racist, okay, including the real Joe Biden. And it was the real Joe Biden during the 1980s, my friend, who was involved with the Iran-Contra scandal, whereas the deep state tried to set up Ronald Reagan. And Reagan had nothing to do with it. Sure. President Reagan was kept in the dark, but it was George Bush Sr., the same devil who had actually tried to take out Reagan, okay, with an assassination attempt in order to activate a coup d'etat to take over the presidency, then tried to set up Reagan again, this time, you know, with the Iran-Contra affair. So the Hinckley family, John Hinckley, they're related to the Bushes by blood.
Yeah.
The Bush family, that's not their real name. If you go back to the 1500s, the actual last name of the Clintons is called Talisman. I kid you not.
Wow.
Capital Talismans. What's a talisman? A witch, a warlock.
Yeah.
Then that name was changed from Talisman to Scherf, to the Scherf bloodline out of Germany.
Okay.
Which eventually became the Bushes. So it was the Bushes who were involved in the Iran-Contra affair, along with Joe Biden, the real Joe Biden of the 1980s.
Yeah.
Whereas they allowed crack cocaine to flood the streets of America, beginning with South Central LA, in order to neutralize Black America. So they would use the Bloods in the Crips, who were created by the Central Intelligence Agency, okay? There is not one Black organization, good or bad or evil, that was ever designed by Black people. It was built for us, but not built by us because of these demon rats wanting to keep us on the plantation. Like I said before, man of God, when I was on your powerful show last time, they don't give a damn about us.
No.
They don't. And so Joe Biden was involved in the distribution of crack cocaine during the 1980s and 90s through this Iran-Contra affair.
Yep.
And then also he had helped a man by the name of General John Shalikashvili, whose father was Dmitry Shalikashvili, a former Waffen SS killer. So it was John Shalikashvili with the political backing of Joe Biden in the 1990s during the Clinton administration to become the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And it was this same John Shalikashvili who sat on the executive board of the Boeing company along with Joe Biden. That's a conflict of interest as far as with Joe Biden. So in essence, this so-called Joe Biden, who is nothing but a clone, okay, he is not going to win the presidency. If I'm President Trump, I would take this all the way to the Supreme Court. Absolutely.
Well, this is why he selected a certain person to be in charge of the Supreme Court.
Isn't that interesting? Why? Oh my God, brother, I love you so much. I feel like taking a flight over there right now to see you. You just said something that was so powerful. I'm asking myself, why is President Trump pushing this Amy Coney Barrett? So why? I understand why now. Because President Trump knew this was coming. President Trump is a master when it comes to chess.
He can play 5 games at the same time.
5 games at the same time. There is a chess term, my friend. It's actually a German term called Juwag. And it simply means that the best move that a chess player can make is not to make a move at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he makes a move, then it will weaken his position. So what President Trump did was push this nomination so that the conservatives could have free reign and Amy Coney Barrett could be the deciding vote. Because this is going to end up at the Supreme Court like the 2000 election. How is it that the state of Georgia, which has been a red state for decades, then all of a sudden it's up for grabs? How is it North Carolina, being a red state, it's up for grabs? And then you got all these ballots that are missing in Pennsylvania. And then nobody wants to call Pennsylvania. So they got 40,000 votes out of the thin air and gave them to Joe Biden. And then in Michigan, I'm going to bed 5 o'clock in the morning. Joe Biden is up by 5 percentage points. And then when I wake up, Trump is up 5 percentage points. So President Trump is up 5 percentage points before I went to bed around 5 o'clock in the morning. I get up, then Biden's in the lead. I said, what the hell is going on? What is going on? And then Biden wins Wisconsin. Joe Biden didn't even go to Wisconsin that much, maybe a few times. And when he did go to Madison, Wisconsin and other cities, he hardly had anyone there. So how is it that he won Wisconsin?
Well,
know
he didn't.
Yeah.
The nice thing is Donald Trump knows a lot more than Charlie Ward. And he knows he won by a complete landslide. He's now got to go through the political job of proving it, which he has more than enough evidence to do.
I'm only 57 years old, Dr. Charlie, my friend, and I hope to live many years. I have never seen such corruption on such a level in my lifetime.
Nope.
On my radio show the other night during the election night, we had a panel of pastors on, and I was saying that Kamala Harris is a whore, and people don't like me saying that. I don't care. You see, I am a contract killer. I am the political John Wick. My job is to expose this and to cut its head off.
Mm-hmm.
So then Kamala Harris got where she's at now because Kamala Harris slept on her back. And Kamala Harris sucked her way to the top. It got her there, but she won't stay there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, she's nothing but a man anyway, just like Michael Obama, another topic for another day. But Kamala Harris, her plan is this, and her husband said this 2 weeks ago, live on social media. I am the husband of the next president of the United States of America. So their plan is to remove this clone, to put in Kamala, and then Kamala brings in another witch, Hillary Clinton, is her VP. Then all of a sudden, Kamala disappears, and then Hillary Clinton assumes the presidency. It's not going to work.
It's not even going to happen because the people you're referring to there have all been dealt with already. Donald Trump will expose exactly how evil they are, and he has all the evidence. Wow. I had 1,500 pages of evidence that I could have provided him with. They said they had more than enough to bury
my
them.
Friend, I love you so much, Dr. Ward. You know what? And the thing is, when I look at, and I tell people I am Q, I expose this. You know what the problem is also, Dr. Ward? I'm so glad that you invited me back because you're hitting so many powerful, positive nerves with me as we're talking about this house of cards, right? The coming fall of the Biden crime family and syndicate. There's another problem besides these pastors who have become prophets of Baal voting for the left. You have people in the truther movement who are nothing but moles and spies trying to divide you and I.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not going to name any names, but you got truthers, so-called truthers, who are working for the agency, like for the CIA, for the NSA, for the Mossad, Chinese intelligence, masquerading as truthers, but who have been strategically planted to discredit us as Q.
Yep.
In order for them to subvert American power and sovereignty.
Yep.
And so these people end up trying to trash you and I, saying they are social engineers and they're liars. But no, they are the liars and they are the social engineers. So these people are spies, they're moles, they're deep state shells.
Yeah.
Okay.
They motivate me. They motivate me. They motivate me. Because if you don't know what evil is, you can never appreciate good. And seeing that makes you appreciate good so much better. When you don't appreciate light until you've seen the dark.
Exactly.
And when you can see the light, and I liken it to, if you're a third dimensional person, it's like being in the woods. You know the sky's up there, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
Then when you move out of the woods, you can see the woods and you can see the sky. That's what's known as the fifth dimension. And then like a drone, you can lift up to the 8th, 9th, 10th, 15th dimension, and you can see very clearly, not only the wood in front of you, but the other wood and the skies.
Yes, sir.
And then when you do that, if one person in the wood is saying something negative about you, it doesn't affect you because you rise above it. And I don't get drawn on it.
Me either. And the
I've
thing
heard
is,
people say that their truth is better than mine. I'm really glad it is.
That's the problem. They want to dig the rabbit holes that they want to dig, but if you present one, then they reject it.
Yep.
Because they're a spy.
Yep.
When a individual, my friend, reveals who they are, believe them. Okay. See, the way I handle a snake, Jesus said in the Gospels, be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. So the way I handle a snake, you got over 3,000 different species of snakes on the earth. So this is the trichotomy of a spy. So the serpent is the body of the snake. The snake is the characteristic of the serpent, which produces that snake and serpent to be a species. So you got not just 3,000 different species of serpents who are snakes, but you also have 3,000 different liberal organizations throughout the world who are interconnected to the world of intelligentsia. So the way I handle a snake, I never handle a snake, and this is what I tell my spiritual sons in ministry. Never handle a snake by its head, because you'll get bit. Always handle a snake by its tail. So when it tries to bite you, it won't reach you, it will end up biting itself and thereby poisoning itself by the venom which was meant for you. I rise above it. I don't react.
Yeah. The other side of the coin with this is when I started this journey, I learned very quickly not to read any of the comments, positive or negative, because the positive ones make you feel overinflated.
Yes.
And the negative ones give you a big smack in the gob. So if you ignore both of them and just get the truth out there and do your homework and do your study, I've got a team of 12 or more people now behind the scenes. We get around 5,000 messages and emails a day. And it's close to impossible to respond to every single one.
Yeah.
So I have to keep my focus on my study.
Yes.
And speaking to as many people I can to establish truth, because every single person is one very valuable piece in the puzzle And I'm nothing more than that. I'm just one piece in a puzzle that is trying to get all the other pieces to fit together. Now, sometimes you, as we talked just now about these imposters, all they are is a piece that's upside down. They just need putting the right way up. That's it. They fit, but they fit the wrong way up.
And they want you
to
believe
over.
what they believe in.
Correct.
I said, no, I don't believe in what you believe. Oh, he's a social engineer. Why? Because you say so?
Yeah.
Listen, I tell people my name is not Toby and my name is not Chicken George. I'm not your slave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is the problem with the synagogue of Satan. I'm not talking about of any ethnic group or race of people.
No.
But I rise above that. Jesus Christ never reacted to his enemies. Why? Because he had nothing, there was nothing in him, no triggers, in order for the enemy to use. So I rise above it. And the thing is, when they call me, when they want me to say something, they're recording me. So that's why I don't answer their calls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't answer the texts or their emails. So, but this Joe Biden situation, this clone, and his wife that he's married to, she's a whore because she was sleeping with the real Joe Biden, if that is indeed Jill Biden, whose maiden name is Jacobs. Her bloodline is connected to the family of Leo Frank Max. Well, one may say, well, Bishop, what does the bloodline of the Max Frank family having to do with Joe Biden? Now, if you remember going back to the early part of the 1900s, there was a man from Atlanta, Georgia, by the name of Leo Frank Max, or Max Frank, Leo Max Frank, who was accused of raping a 14-year-old white girl by the name of Mary Fagan. Whereas he tried to frame a black janitor who was off at that time by the name of John Conley. By raping the girl, this is what Leo Max Frank, or Frank Max, did, I believe around between 1912 and 1914. So he had raped this little girl and murdered her and put her down in the basement of this national pencil company, which he ran.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he do this? Why did he rape this girl and try to frame a black man to cause a riot within the black community?
Mm-hmm.
But those patriots knew this black man did not do this.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even at work this day.
Yeah.
So this Leo Max Frank was then represented by B'nai B'rith of the Anti-Defamation League. And then they end up lynching this Leo Max Frank. His bloodline is connected to Joe Jacobs, who is Joe Biden today. But at the time when Joe Jacobs met the real Joe Biden,
mm-hmm.
Joe Jacobs was married to a man by the name of Bill Stevenson. Now, Bill Stevenson came out in the Guardian newspaper, okay, some time ago, out of London, and said that Joe Biden was sleeping with my wife when my wife was married to me, and Joe Biden was married to Natalie Hunter Biden, the woman who died in a car crash. So then you're dealing with the most corrupt politician in American history. Now, I believe 1,000,000% with you, man of God, this is a clone. This is not Joe Biden. And so what you and I are witnessing is nothing short of a coup. And when you got Barack Hussein Obama, who doesn't love America. Barack Obama was not born in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama is an agent provocateur representing the CIA. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, when you look at the family of Barack Obama, on his mother's side, okay, his grandfather, okay, in that bloodline goes back to the 1400s. And I believe I brought this up last time when I was on your show.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Armour Dunham, okay, the grandfather of Barack Obama, his bloodline goes back to a minister by the name of Reverend Jonathan Singletary,
Mm-hmm.
who was by and large a witch who was supposed to die at the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts. And so we're talking about going back to the 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, these devils today are nothing but witches and warlocks,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And they hate President Trump so much. What I don't understand for the life of me, man of God, as we're talking about this Biden crime syndicate,
Mm-hmm.
getting back to the pastors, my heart breaks because they're supposed to be pro-life. I talked to a pastor yesterday and asking him, from Detroit, why did you vote for Joe Biden? He said, the Spirit of the Lord told him. I said, the devil is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
God did not tell you to vote for Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
So these pastors are financially paid off
Mm-hmm.
to look the other way, to vote for a clone.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, President Trump, I believe, will be real. He won the race the other night.
He has won, and we're on November the 5th. The election was on November the 3rd. He is still your president, and he will remain that for the next 4 years. But we'll have to go through the details here. And I think there's a very important thing to point out here that for me, it was a big shock when the British royal family was exposed for what they were. And I knew that the Federal Reserve was corrupt. And when they backed that into the Treasury, that was a good sign.
Yes.
And then when they emptied the Vatican, then we found that there's satanic links inside there.
Yes.
You would know, being a black man, that there are millions and millions of wonderful black people, but there are a minority of evil black people.
Mm-hmm.
There are many, many great pastors, bishops, vicars, priests, but there are also some evil ones.
Yes.
And the evil ones can be bought, and that's not what God wants.
No.
And we need to be aware of that. And as you said, even in our group of truthers, we've got people who are infiltrating it. You have it in the religious world, not the spiritual world, because what's spiritual is something completely different. In the religious world, you have a number of people who take advantage of it because it's a cash cow for a lot of them. It's a money-making machine, mm-hmm. and they're driven by the money, not by the service to God.
No.
And now is the time that they will expose themselves.
And that's what's happening now. When you get shysters, mm-hmm. like Reverend Al Vitamin B Deficient Sharpton, mm-hmm. Jesse Jackson, who had Dr. Martin Luther King killed because on that morning when Dr. King was assassinated, going back to April of 1968, okay, in Memphis, Tennessee, Jesse Jackson changed the room number of Dr. King, not once but twice. Dr. King was supposed to be on the first floor, but Jesse Jackson put him on the third floor to have a clean shot at Dr. King from the assassins. So you get traitors within the Black community. Mm-hmm. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Louis Bean Pie, Fruit Bag Farrakhan, including Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump, all of these men are a part of a Black secret society, mm-hmm. called the Boule Secret Society. Capital B-O-U-L apostrophe E, which means in Greek, Sigma Pi Phi. So these Black skulls and bones are handpicked out of the crab barrel. Mm-hmm. That's a moniker that we use in Black America and have been using for centuries, where the global Baphomet Luciferian deep state creates this crab barrel, mm-hmm. Dr. Ward. And the deep state strategically chooses certain ones, like a Barack Obama, like a Michael Michelle Obama, a Eric Holder, okay, and Al Sharpton, a Farrakhan, a Jesse Jackson. They choose these individuals to be the face of Black America. So then they tell us these are your heroes and these are your leaders. Like I said a few minutes ago, there is not one Black organization in American history that has ever been organically built by us.
Mm-hmm.
It's been designed and built for us,
Mm-hmm.
but not designed and built by us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's strategically done
Mm-hmm.
in order for Black people to be both manipulated,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and weaponized. So they're manipulating both our pain
Mm-hmm.
and weaponizing our trauma and our ignorance against ourselves.
Yep.
So these are the same leaders who praised President Trump when he was just Donald Trump as a hero before Trump became president. Now all of a sudden he's a racist. How is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because they play this race game.
Yep.
Did you see during the last debate, the moderator, Kristen Welker, anytime that Trump was about to expose this clone,
Mm-hmm.
here comes Kristen Welker, or let's talk about race. That's all they do. So these people have sold out Black America. And I keep telling Black America, you're nothing but a slave to these people. Black Lives Matter is ran by 3 stinking Black witches. Black people don't like the bishop talking about that in that tone. I don't care, Dr. Charlie Ward. God hasn't ordained me to be people's friend. I'm here. Thank God I have you as my friend. I'm here to shed light to the world concerning not just the Biden crime syndicate, but the gatekeepers around this clone who are protecting him, mm-hmm. which is these Black leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So the Boule Secret Society
mm-hmm.
that was created with Rockefeller money mm-hmm. on the 15th of May, 1904, in the hometown of Kobe Bryant, the hometown of the AME Church, mm-hmm. the African Methodist Episcopal Church. That's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, mm-hmm. okay? Including the hometown of the Prince Hall Masonic Order, mm-hmm. which is another offshoot mm-hmm. of the Black Skulls and Bones. Mm-hmm. So the Boules were created with Rockefeller money through 9 Black men, mm-hmm. beginning with Dr. Henry McKee Menton and Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who had sold out, Dr. Du Bois had sold out Black America, who in 1922, the early part of the 1920s, the FBI was targeting a Black conservative by the name of Dr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. who by all accounts was a Black Republican, a Black conservative, mm-hmm. who was teaching Black America to be self-sufficient, not to depend on the government. So the government on the left did not want that, so they hired the Boule mm-hmm. to set up Garvey, blaming him for something that he didn't do, saying that Garvey was not only a fraud, but he was embezzling money, and mm-hmm. that was a lie. He was sent to prison for a few years and eventually deported.
Yep.
But Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, in relation to Biden today, mm-hmm. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois is what we call a house Negro. Mm-hmm. In other words, Du Bois was approached in 1929 by this witch, Margaret Sanger, of Planned Parenthood, mm-hmm. who then Margaret Sanger asked Du Bois in February of 29, how do I plant multiple death clinics, her words, in Black America? Why didn't she go to Hollywood with that? Why didn't she go to Beverly Hills? Why didn't she go to Midtown Manhattan? She targeted Harlem, New York. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Du Bois, being a Boule, mm-hmm. a Sigma Pi Phi sellout, had said, if you want to reach Black America, you have to target the Black pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
This is what this clone Biden and the Democratic Party has done.
Yep.
They have targeted Black America by targeting the Black pulpit to support this clone.
Mm-hmm.
So since 1973, see, you're going to get me preaching now. Since 1973, close to 19 million Black babies have been aborted.
Yep.
Why? Because of this sellout, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who in 1929 was used by Planned Parenthood, okay, which was originally deemed and called the American Birth Control League. Whereas you had 300 Black pastors in 1929 here in Harlem had received a $500 check from Margaret Sanger in order to back her to build the first Black clinic in American history in April of 1929 here in Harlem, New York, on the corner of 125th and Lenox. Let me tell you something. These liberals don't care about Black life. They want our vote, but they don't want us. President Trump, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Ward, has done more for Black America than any president combined in American history. And I'm telling you, God is in full control. And President Trump is going to win re-election. He's already won.
You just reminded me of something I was told about 3 months ago. All of these Black babies that were aborted for a reason. They were taken for their adrenochrome because it was the most valuable in the world.
Yes. Yes. Look at all of the Black deaths in connection to what you just said concerning these babies. Nearly 19 million has been snuffed out since 1973. Trayvon Martin, Kanika Jenkins in Chicago, Eric Garner, New York City, okay? All of these, Kendrick Johnson in Valdosta, beginning in 2012 with Trayvon Martin. His parents didn't even know where Trayvon Martin was for 4 days. At the time, former Vice President Dick Cheney was in Sanford, Florida, supposedly on business, who ended up with a heart transplant. So the organs of Trayvon Martin were extracted from the body. Then you have a young kid by the name of Kendrick Johnson out of Valdosta, Georgia, whose body was found in a gym, a high school gym. He was wrapped up in a gym mat. And the media said, well, he died and he just, wrapped himself up in the mat, which is garbage. His parents ordered his body to be, exhumed from the grave. His body was filled with newspapers. A young woman by the name of Kanika Jenkins in Chicago, Illinois, was found at the Crown Plaza Hotel, the same hotel that Oprah Winfrey owns 2 floors in Chicago. So Kanika Jenkins was found in the freezer with all of her organs extracted. Why? Adrenochrome. Then Eric Garner here in New York City, Freddie Gray in Baltimore. For the past 3 years, Dr. Ward, there's been close to 1.7 million Black men from prison that has just disappeared. Adrenochrome. So not only is adrenochrome sold on the Black market, but an element in the Black corporation, our constitution, called melon. Melon is sold here on Wall Street, as well as on all of the stock markets around the world. Where did they get that melon from? Organ harvesting.
Yeah.
Who's behind that? The Democratic Party.
Just one One thing about that, there's one area I want to clear up there. Most people are unaware that Donald Trump spent most of his life as a Democrat. The Democratic Party has been hijacked by evil. It was never evil originally. It's been kidnapped and hijacked by evil. And that's why Donald Trump moved away from it.
Yes.
Led the Republican Party to expose them for what they are.
See, I said this on my radio show the other night.
Mm-hmm.
That the Democratic Party, even going back to JFK,
yep,
had some sanity to it.
Yep.
It wasn't this evil like it is today.
No.
But it became evil after JFK became assassinated.
Correct.
So I was on a show recently, not too long ago, revealing the 17th letter of the alphabet, Q, in which the host didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talk about that one day.
Mm-hmm.
So when you examine why the Democratic Party is so evil, one of its founders, Thomas Jefferson, was a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
He raped a 15-year-old girl, Sally Hemings, got her pregnant multiple times. But you hear Black folk, well, that was the times. They always give excuses for their plantation masters on the left. But the origin of Q began on the 1st of April in 1860, where 25 Northern patriot generals who wanted to protect President Abraham Lincoln created the Q Revolution.
Wow.
25 generals of the North created on the 1st of April in 1860 what we call the Q movement in order to protect not just Lincoln, but the first Constitution.
Okay.
Because we're under 2 constitutions.
Yeah, that's correct.
So as you said at the beginning of the show, it's God versus Satan, light versus darkness, but it's also the first Constitution versus the second Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So President Trump, in great intelligence as a leader, used COVID-19 because these devils had tried to destroy Trump in the economy through COVID-19, but used COVID-19 against itself, thereby against the second Constitution of 1871.
Mm-hmm.
Because 3 areas of the world that were formerly controlled by these 3 powers, Washington, D.C., you and I had talked about that, right? The City of London and the Vatican. Washington, D.C., the military-industrial complex, the City of London, the financial hub of the world, and of course, the Vatican, the religious order. But the Q movement began on the 1st of April in 1860 to protect American sovereignty, because you and I, we were never designed by God to be a corporation.
No.
Because of the second Constitution in 1871 that brought undue pressure from both the Rothschilds, out of the British arm of the Rothschilds, through the Vatican, through Pope Pius IX, put undue pressure on a deep state president, Ulysses S. Grant, to destroy the first Constitution that made us a Christian constitutional republic in order for us to be a corporation. So we go from being an American sovereign, free in Christ, to being an American citizen where we have to pay taxes.
Correct.
See, the Internal Revenue Service is not because of the first Constitution. The Internal Revenue Service is because of the second Constitution. The IRS is an illegal entity, my friend.
Of course it is.
Why are we paying into a system, okay, that we fought against during the 1776 American Revolutionary War, taxation without representation? Now we're paying into it because these devils today on the left are proponents of the second Constitution who are trying to destroy the founding documents of the first Constitution
Sure.
In 1776, ratified 3 times, 1781, 87, and 89. You got traitors, not only in the truther movement, but you got traitors in Washington, D.C. My friend, I'm telling you, you and I are Q. And Q has lasted from April 1st, 1860 to the 5th of November, 2020. The letter Q simply means enlightenment. There is a Gospel of Q, one of the 45 missing books that were extracted by the Vatican, both in the 325 AD conference in Nicene, Turkey, by Constantine and his homosexual lover, Pope Sylvester. And then in 1666 by the Vatican, an additional 25 books, with the political backing of the Jesuit Secret Society, who at the time was the military industrial complex for the Vatican, took out 45 books. One of those books is the Gospel of Q that taught the gospel of enlightenment. So then Q means, in our conclusion, exposing the darkness through light by bringing the darkness into the light. That's what you and I are doing as Q patriots. Yes.
100%. Well, as always, it's an absolute wonderful pleasure to talk to you again. And we'll have to do this again for sure. There's so much more to talk about.
My friend, I look forward to being back with you. And as I said to you on your last show, I got to come to Madrid, Spain to have dinner or lunch with you one day.
Well, you're a shining beacon of truth and life.
Thank you, my friend. I love you, Dr. Ward. I love you, man.
I love you too. It's
and
a
I
real
love your
privilege.
family, and you got a beautiful, beautiful family, beautiful wife, beautiful child. And I wish nothing but the best. And I'm looking forward to coming back for a part 3 on the Charlie Ward Show. I love you, my friend. Give my love to your wife, to your son, to your family, and we will see you next time.
God bless.
God bless you, sir. Love you.
Love you too.
Hello everyone, Charlie Ward has finally got a new website. It's called drcharlieward.com. All of his videos, new and old, will be added there for you to watch for free. Add your email address to subscribe to Charlie's newsletter for regular updates and to stay in touch.